The alarm bells rang through the UES Liberty as Commander Jake Morrison rushed to the bridge. His boots made sharp sounds on the metal floor as he moved fast down the hallway. The red lights flashed over and over, telling everyone that danger was coming. "Report," Jake said as he reached his command chair. Captain Lisa Hayes turned from her screen with a worried look on her face. "3 large ships just came out of jump space near the mining colonies at Kepler 442, she said. "They are big, Commander. Much bigger than anything we have." Jake looked at the main screen. 3 massive ships hung in space like dark mountains. They had sharp edges and strange curves that hurt to look at. Weapons stuck out from their sides like angry teeth. The ships were black with purple lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Any word from the colonies?" Jake asked. "They sent a quick message before going quiet," Lisa said. "The alien ships told them to give up or die. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet." Jake felt cold inside his chest. He had heard stories about the Zephyrians. They had destroyed many worlds and made slaves of whole races. No one had ever beaten them in battle. The human colonies had maybe 10,000 people living there, including children and families. "How long before they reach the colonies?" Jake asked. 6 hours at their current speed," said Lieutenant Tony Garcia from the weapons station. "Commander, we are just one ship. They have 3 battle cruisers. Each one could destroy us easily." Jake sat down in his chair and thought hard. The Liberty was a good ship with a good crew, but Tony was right. In a normal fight they would lose fast and die. But Jake remembered something his grandfather had told him long ago. His grandfather had been a soldier in the old wars on Earth. He used to tell stories about how the best fighters were not always the ones with the biggest guns. Sometimes the best weapon was something the enemy never expected. "Lisa, open a channel to Earth Command," Jake said. "Channel open, sir. Earth Command, this is Commander Morrison of the UES Liberty. We have a situation here." The face of Admiral Kane appeared on the screen. His gray hair and serious eyes made him look like someone who had seen many battles. "What is it, Morrison?" 3 Zephyrian battle cruisers are threatening the Kepler colonies. They want complete surrender." Admiral Kane was quiet for a moment. "You are outnumbered and outgunned. Can you buy time for the colonies to evacuate?" "Maybe, sir, but I have a different idea, something that might work better than running." "I am listening." Jake took a deep breath. "My grandfather once told me about psychological warfare, how soldiers would do unexpected things to confuse the enemy. What if we do something the Zephyrians have never seen before? What do you have in mind? What if we broadcast laughter at them before we fight?" The bridge went very quiet. Everyone stared at Jake like he had lost his mind. Admiral Kane looked confused too. "Laughter, Commander?" "Yes, sir. Real human laughter. Not fake or mean laughter, but the kind we do when we are happy or when we face danger with friends beside us. Think about it. They expect us to be scared or angry. They have probably never heard human laughter before." Lisa stepped closer to Jake's chair. "Commander, that sounds crazy. How would laughing help us fight?" Jake stood up and looked around the bridge. "How do you feel when you laugh with your friends?" "When you share a joke during a hard time? Better, I guess. More relaxed. Like I can handle anything," said Tony. "Exactly. And what do our enemies expect? Fear. Begging. Maybe threats or final prayers. But laughter? Pure human joy in the face of impossible odds? That might shake them up." Admiral Kane nodded slowly on the screen. "It is unusual enough that it might work. Do it, Morrison. And may luck be with you." The screen went dark. Jake turned to his crew. They all looked uncertain but ready to follow orders. "All right, everyone. Here is what we are going to do. We are going to send those Zephyrians something they have never experienced before. We are going to show them why humans are different from every other race they have conquered." Jake walked over to the ship's communication system. "Attention all crew of the Liberty. This is your commander speaking. In a few hours we are going to face an enemy that wants to destroy innocent people. We are outnumbered and they have bigger guns. But we have something they do not have and do not understand." He paused and smiled. "We have each other. We have the ability to find joy even when things look hopeless. We have the human spirit that never gives up, no matter how bad things get. So here is what we are going to do. When we face those ships, we are going to laugh. We are going to laugh like we are with our best friends. We are going to laugh like we are having the best time of our lives. And then we are going to fight like humans have never fought before." The crew looked at each other. Slowly, smiles began to appear on their faces. The idea was so strange and unexpected that it started to seem brilliant. "Chief Garcia, target their weapon systems. Lisa, plot us a course that will keep us moving fast. Navigation, be ready for some crazy flying. Engineering, give me everything you have got. As the Liberty moved toward the Zephyrian fleet, Jake felt something he had not expected. Instead of fear, he felt excited. The plan was risky and weird, but it was also completely human. No other race in the galaxy would think to use laughter as a weapon. The 3 alien ships grew larger on the screen. They were close enough now to see details. Gun ports opened like angry eyes. Energy readings showed they were charging their weapons. Incoming transmission from the lead Zephyrian ship, Lisa reported. Put it on screen. A tall alien with gray skin and yellow eyes appeared. Its voice was cold and mechanical when it spoke. Human vessel, you will surrender immediately or be destroyed. You have no chance against the might of the Zephyrian Empire. Jake smiled and activated the ship-wide intercom. This is it, crew. Time to show them what humans are made of. Everyone ready? Voices from all over the ship called back. Ready, Commander. Open a channel to the Zephyrian fleet, Jake ordered. Let them hear us. The bridge crew started to chuckle. The sound grew as more voices joined in from other parts of the ship. Soon, the entire UES Liberty was filled with the sound of human laughter, broadcast directly at the confused alien fleet. Admiral Klextor stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Eternal Dominance. His forearms moved over the control panels as he checked the readings again. Something was wrong with the translation systems. The sounds coming from the small human ship made no sense. Subcommander Vex Neal, report, Klextor said in the clicking language of his people. Vex Neal approached with his head low in respect. His green scales looked pale under the purple lights of the bridge. Admiral, our translation computers are having trouble understanding the human transmission. The sounds appear to be expressions of joy and amusement. That cannot be correct. Run the analysis again. I have run it 6 times, Admiral. The results are the same. The humans are broadcasting what their species calls laughter. Klextor had conquered 47 different species across the galaxy. He knew how battles started. First came fear, the trembling voices begging for mercy. Then came anger, the proud speeches about fighting to the death. Sometimes there were prayers to whatever gods the species believed in, but never, in all his years of war, had any enemy responded to overwhelming force with sounds of happiness. Perhaps it is a malfunction in their communication system, suggested Vex Neal. No, Klextor said slowly. The sounds are too organized, too purposeful. This is intentional. On the main viewing screen, the small human ship moved closer. It was tiny compared to the Zephyrian battlecruisers, like a small fish swimming toward 3 giant sharks. But instead of running away or begging for mercy, the laughter grew louder and more joyful. Weapons Officer Krone Zex reported from his station. Admiral, the human ship is moving in an unusual pattern. They are not following any standard attack formation or defensive position. Show me. The tactical display lit up with colored lines showing the movement of both fleets. The human ship was dancing between the Zephyrian vessels, spinning and diving in ways that made no military sense. It was like watching someone play a game instead of fight a battle. Their pilot must be insane, Vex Neal said. But Klextor was not sure. He had studied the military records of many species. Insane pilots usually made mistakes and died quickly. This human pilot was performing moves that required incredible skill and timing. The laughter seemed to be making the human more capable, not less. Fire warning shots, Klextor ordered. Perhaps seeing our weapons will bring them to their senses. Purple energy beams shot out from the Zephyrian ships. They missed the human vessel on purpose, but the display of power should have been terrifying. Any normal species would have stopped and surrendered immediately. Instead, the laughter got louder. Admiral, Kronzek said with worry in his voice, something is wrong. The sound is affecting the crew. Some of our soldiers are acting strangely. What do you mean? They are asking questions about the meaning of the sounds. Some have stopped working to listen. A few are even trying to copy the noise themselves. Klextor felt a chill run through his body. Zephyrian military success depended on discipline and fear. Their soldiers followed orders because they were afraid of punishment. Their enemies gave up because they were afraid of death. But these human sounds seemed to remove fear instead of create it. On the viewing screen, small fighter ships launched from the human vessel. There were only 6 of them against hundreds of Zephyrian fighters. The odds were impossible. Yet the laughter continued, and now individual human voices could be heard over the communication channel. "This is Captain Sam Rodriguez," came a cheerful human voice. "Flight leader to all pilots. Remember what we talked about. Stay loose, stay happy, and show these guys how humans fly. Copy that, Sam, replied another voice that sounded like it was trying not to laugh. Tony Garcia here. I have got an idea that is either brilliant or completely stupid. Those are the best kind of ideas, Tony. Let's do it. The human fighters began their attack run. They moved like no military formation Klextor had ever seen. Instead of careful planned maneuvers, they improvised and adapted constantly. When Zephyrian fighters tried to trap them, the humans would suddenly change direction in ways that should have been impossible. How are they pulling such high-gravity turns? Demanded Kronzex. Unknown, Admiral. Their ship should not be able to handle those forces. The pilots should be unconscious or dead. But the humans kept flying and laughing. One fighter, piloted by the one called Tony Garcia, actually flew straight at a Zephyrian heavy cruiser. Just when it looked like he would crash, he released what appeared to be mining charges and spun away at the last second. The explosion damaged the cruiser's main engines. That was the stupidest plan I have ever seen. Garcia's voice came over the radio, full of joy. I cannot believe it worked. Nice flying, Tony, Rodriguez replied. Now let's see what other impossible things we can do. Vexnil turned to Klextor with confusion in his yellow eyes. Admiral, this makes no sense. How can they fight better while making sounds of amusement? It goes against everything we know about combat psychology. Klextor was wondering the same thing. In Zephyrian culture, warriors fought best when they were angry or afraid. Strong emotions like rage gave them focus and power, but these humans seemed to gain strength from positive emotions instead. Admiral, came a worried voice from the communication station. We are receiving reports from all ships. The human laughter is causing problems with crew morale. Some soldiers are refusing orders. Others are asking to speak with the humans instead of fighting them. This is unacceptable, Klextor growled. All ships open fire. Destroy the human vessel immediately. The 3 Zephyrian battle cruisers unleashed their full firepower. Purple energy beams and explosive missiles filled the space around the human ship. The small vessel should have been destroyed instantly. Instead, it danced between the attacks like it was performing some kind of celebration. The pilot seemed to know exactly where each shot would go before it was fired. The laughter grew even louder, and now it was joined by cheering and what sounded like singing. Impossible, Vexnil whispered. One of the human fighters suddenly appeared next to the bridge viewports, so close that Klextor could see the pilot inside. The human waved at them with a big smile on its face, then rolled away as Zephyrian guns tried to target it. Admiral, the communication officer called out. The humans are broadcasting on all channels now. The sounds are reaching every ship in our fleet. Cut all communication links. I cannot, sir. They are using some kind of wide-spectrum transmission that bypasses our filters. Klextor realized with growing horror that his perfect military formation was falling apart. Ships were moving out of position. Some weapons had stopped firing. He could hear his own crew making strange new sounds. Sounds that almost resembled the human laughter. The small human ship suddenly accelerated straight toward his flagship. Instead of fear, Klextor felt something he had never experienced before. Curiosity about what the humans would do next. That curiosity scared him more than any weapon ever had. The news traveled fast across the galaxy. Within 3 days, every major civilization had heard about the Battle of Kepler 442. Not because it was a big fight with many ships destroyed, but because something impossible had happened. A single human vessel had made an entire Zephyrian fleet retreat using nothing but the sound of laughter. The Hegemony Council called an emergency meeting on the neutral station of Deep Space 9. Representatives from 12 different alien species gathered in the Great Hall, their various forms creating strange shadows under the artificial lights. The air recycling systems worked hard to accommodate the different atmospheric needs of so many different races. Ambassador Thex Quinn of the Dominion stood at the central podium. His tall, thin body swayed slightly as he spoke, a sign of nervousness in his species. His large black eyes reflected the concern felt by everyone in the room. Fellow representatives, he began. His voice translated into dozens of languages simultaneously. We face a crisis unlike any in our recorded history. The humans have developed a new form of warfare that threatens everything we understand about military strategy. Murmurs spread through the assembled aliens. The Krillian delegate, a creature that looked like a walking crystal formation, chimed in musical tones that expressed disbelief. The Skarn representative, A large warrior with thick armor and multiple arms growled something that the translators rendered as extreme skepticism. I have reviewed the battle recording 17 times, continued Thex Quinn. The human ship UES Liberty faced 3 Zephyrian battlecruisers. By all laws of physics and military science, they should have been destroyed in minutes. Instead, they broadcast acoustic signals that our experts can only classify as expressions of joy and humor. Dr. Elena Vasquez sat quietly in the human observation section. As Earth's xenopsychologist and diplomatic attaché, she had been invited to explain human behavior to the confused alien representatives. She had short black hair and kind eyes behind simple glasses. Despite being surrounded by beings who could destroy her planet, she looked calm and even slightly amused. The psychological effects were immediate and devastating. Thex Quinn continued. Zephyrian crew members began questioning orders. Some attempted to communicate with the humans instead of fighting them. The entire Zephyrian military doctrine relies on fear-based discipline and the despair of their enemies. The human sounds removed both fear and despair from the equation. The Etherian representative floated forward. Its body was made of pure energy contained in a crystalline shell. When it spoke, the words seemed to come from everywhere at once. We demand an explanation from the human delegation. What kind of weapon have you developed? Dr. Vasquez stood up slowly. With respect, Ambassador, laughter is not a weapon that we developed. It is simply part of who we are as a species. Impossible, declared the synthetic collective's android representative. Its chrome face showed no emotion as it spoke. Humor serves no evolutionary purpose in combat situations. It should reduce efficiency and increase vulnerability. Elena smiled, which made several aliens step back in alarm. That is where you are wrong. For humans, laughter does many things. It reduces stress hormones in our bodies. It increases our pain tolerance. It makes us think more creatively when solving problems. Most importantly, it strengthens the bonds between us when we face danger together. The Skarn warrior leaned forward aggressively. You speak of bonds. We understand pack loyalty. But how does making noise improve fighting ability? Let me show you something, Elena said. She activated a small holographic projector that displayed scenes from human history. These are recordings from our past conflicts on Earth. Watch how human soldiers behave just before dangerous missions. The hologram showed human soldiers from different time periods. Ancient warriors sharing jokes around campfires before battle. Pilots in old flying machines singing funny songs while enemy bullets flew around them. Soldiers in trenches laughing at letters from home while explosions shook the ground nearby. You see, Elena explained, humans have always used humor to cope with fear and uncertainty. It does not make us fearless. It makes us more human. And when we are more human, we fight not just for victory but for each other. The alien representatives watched the recordings with growing unease. The patterns were clear across all human conflicts. Humans became more dangerous when they were enjoying themselves, not less. Commander Rick Sullivan of the UES Defiance chose that moment to arrive with news that made the situation worse. His ship had just received new orders from Earth Command. He was a tall man with gray hair and scars on his hands from years of military service. Dr. Vasquez, he said, approaching the human section, I have been ordered to inform the council about Protocol Chuckle. Elena closed her eyes for a moment. She had hoped Earth Command would keep this development secret a little longer. What is Protocol Chuckle? Demanded Thex Quinn. Commander Sullivan stepped forward and addressed the assembled aliens. As of yesterday, all human military vessels have been equipped with enhanced communication systems. Before engaging any hostile forces, we are now required to broadcast laughter and other expressions of human joy. The silence in the council chamber was complete. Even the air recycling system seemed to stop working for a moment. You are weaponizing happiness, whispered the Etherian delegate. We are being ourselves, Elena replied. The fact that this frightens you says more about your military philosophy than ours. The Krillian delegate's crystal body flashed angry colors as it spoke. This is psychological warfare of the worst kind. How can we prepare our forces to fight an enemy that becomes stronger when happy? You cannot, Commander Sullivan said simply. Because happiness is not something you can counter with technology or tactics. You either understand it or you do not. You either have it or you do not. Reports began coming in from across the galaxy. Human merchant ships were using comedic convoy protocols when traveling through dangerous space. Trader Captain Bobby Chen had broadcast his crew's stand-up comedy routines while carrying supplies through pirate territory. The pirates, mostly Vorthan raiders, had become so confused by human humor that they stopped attacking and requested medical assistance for what they called psychological disturbance. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster arrived with intelligence, reports that made the alien representatives even more worried. She was a serious woman with sharp eyes who specialized in military analysis. "The effects are spreading," she announced. 3 Krillian Empire fleets have refused orders to engage human vessels. The Nexus Confederation is developing something they call humor-dampening fields. The hive mind has assigned 1,000 of their best analysts to study human comedy, looking for weaknesses. "Have any of these countermeasures been successful?" asked Thex Quinn. "No," Amy replied. "Human laughter appears to evolve faster than alien technology can adapt. Every time they think they understand our humor, we develop new jokes." The meeting ended with no solutions and many more questions. As the alien representatives filed out, Elena could hear them talking in worried tones about the human laughter threat and the need for new military strategies. Commander Sullivan approached her as the chamber emptied. "Think they will try to stop us?" Elena watched the last alien delegate leave. "They will try. But how do you fight an enemy whose greatest weapon is joy? How do you prepare your soldiers to face people who laugh in the face of death?" Outside the station, human ships could be seen patrolling the area. Even from this distance, faint sounds of laughter could be heard over the communication channels. The aliens had spent centuries perfecting the art of war through fear and intimidation. Now they had to face an enemy that fought with happiness, and they had no idea how to respond. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Kepler 442, and the galaxy had changed in ways no one expected. The mere mention of human ships approaching a conflict zone now caused panic among alien military commanders. 3 separate Krillian Empire fleets had experienced complete mutinies. When their crews learned, they would be fighting vessels that broadcast the terrible human joy sounds. Captain Danny Brooks stood on the bridge of the UES Ranger, studying the latest intelligence reports. He was a stocky man with kind eyes and a beard that was starting to turn gray. His ship was one of the newest in the human fleet, specially designed for what Earth Command now called psychological operations. "Captain," said his science officer, Lieutenant Sarah Kim, "we are receiving distress signals from the research station at Proxima 7. Raiders are demanding they surrender their supplies." Danny looked at the tactical display. "How many raider ships?" 12 vessels, sir. They appear to be Vorthan pirates. The research station has no defenses. Set course for Proxima 7 maximum speed, and Sarah, prepare the new laughter protocols." As the Ranger jumped to hyperspace, Danny thought about how much their understanding of human laughter had grown. The scientists at Earth Command had discovered that different types of human laughter affected alien psychology in different ways. It was like having a toolbox full of different emotional weapons, each one perfect for specific situations. The research station came into view as they dropped out of hyperspace. 12 dark ships surrounded the small facility like wolves circling prey. The lead raider vessel was already sending threatening messages to the station commander. "This is Captain Vorth of the Crimson Blade," came the translated voice over the communication channel. "Surrender your research data and supplies immediately, or we will destroy your station." Danny activated the ship-wide intercom. "Attention, crew of the Ranger. We have 12 pirates threatening innocent researchers. Time to show them why raiding human space is a bad idea. Sarah, what kind of laughter do we use against Vorthans?" Lieutenant Kim checked her notes. "According to our xenopsychology reports, Vorthans are highly aggressive but also pack hunters. They depend on group confidence to maintain their courage. Dr. Vasquez recommends warm, inclusive laughter, the kind that makes them feel left out of something wonderful." "Perfect. Chief Martinez, get your engineering crew ready. I want belly laughs from the engine room. Commander Park, have your security team prepare their best family reunion-style chuckling. Navigation, warm up those grandmotherly chuckles." The crew of the Ranger had been training for this. Each department had practiced different types of laughter until they could produce specific emotional effects on command. It sounded strange, but the results were always impressive. "Open a channel to the Raider fleet," Danny ordered. The main screen showed the Vorthan captain. He was a large alien with dark fur and sharp teeth, clearly built for intimidation. His yellow eyes glowed with confidence as he prepared to make his usual threats. "Attention, Raider vessels," Danny said with a friendly smile. "This is Captain Brooks of the UES Ranger. You are threatening civilians under human protection. We strongly suggest you reconsider. Captain Vorth laughed in a harsh, barking way. 1 human ship against 12 Vorthan raiders. You will be destroyed quickly, and then we will take what we want from the station. I appreciate your confidence, Danny replied. But before we start shooting at each other, we would like to share something with you. It is a human tradition. The crew of the Ranger began to laugh. It started with Chief Martinez in engineering, whose deep rolling belly laugh echoed through the ship. Commander Park and his security team joined in with the warm chuckling of friends sharing old stories. The navigation crew added the gentle laughter of grandmothers watching children play. The sound that emerged was unlike anything the Vorthons had ever heard. It was not mocking or cruel, but genuinely joyful. It was the sound of people who truly enjoyed being together, facing danger as a family. On the screen, Captain Vorth's confident expression began to change. His ears dropped and his tail stopped moving. Behind him, other Vorthans could be seen looking confused and uncertain. What is this? Vorth demanded, but his voice had lost its aggressive edge. This is what humans call happiness, Danny explained, still smiling. We thought you might like to hear it before we fight. Sarah, tactical analysis. Lieutenant Kim reported from her station. Captain, the raider formation is breaking apart. 3 ships are moving away from the group. The others appear to be having internal communications problems. Danny watched as the Vorthan fleet began to fall apart. The raiders were pack hunters who depended on shared aggression to maintain their attack mentality. The warm, inclusive human laughter was making them feel isolated and alone, even when surrounded by their own kind. Captain Vorth, Danny continued in a friendly tone, you are welcome to stay and fight if you want. But I should mention that we just received reinforcements. 2 more human ships dropped out of hyperspace. The UES Harmony and the UES Celebration took positions flanking the Ranger. All 3 ships began broadcasting laughter simultaneously, creating a chorus of human joy that filled the entire area. This is Captain Linda Foster of the Harmony, came a cheerful voice over the communication channel. Hope we are not late for the party. Captain Mike Torres of the Celebration here, added another voice. Are we sharing the good times with our new Vorthon friends? The effect on the raiders was immediate and complete. Captain Vorth stared at the screen with an expression of total confusion. His pack confidence had completely collapsed, replaced by what looked like longing. Several Vorthon ships began moving away without orders. I do not understand, Vorth said quietly. Why do these sounds make me want to be part of your group instead of attacking it? Danny felt a moment of sympathy for the confused pirate. Because laughter is an invitation, Captain. When humans laugh together, we are inviting others to share our joy. Your species probably has something similar. Sounds you make when your pack is safe and happy together. Vorth's ears perked up slightly. The singing of cubs around the fire, when all is well and the hunt was successful? Exactly. That is what human laughter means to us. We are telling you that we feel safe and happy, even in the face of danger, and we are inviting you to feel the same way. The lead raider ship suddenly changed course, moving away from the research station. I do not understand this, Vorth transmitted. But I know that I do not want to destroy something that creates such sounds. We will find other prey. One by one, the remaining raider ships followed their captain away from the station. Danny could hear confused conversations between the Vorthans as they tried to understand what had happened to them. Chief Petty Officer Martha Wells approached from her station. She was an older woman with gray hair and laugh lines around her eyes. Captain, we are receiving a transmission from the research station. They want to thank us, but they also have questions. Put them through. Dr. Alex Carter appeared on the screen. He was the station commander, a thin man with nervous energy. Captain Brooks, how did you make those raiders leave without firing a shot? We laughed at them, Dr. Carter. Or rather, we laughed with them. There is a difference. I do not understand. Danny thought for a moment about how to explain it. Dr. Carter, when was the last time you heard someone laugh and wanted to hurt them? Never, I suppose. Laughter usually makes me want to join in or at least smile. Exactly. That is the secret weapon we humans never knew we had. We can take the most aggressive, dangerous beings in the galaxy and make them want to be our friends just by being genuinely happy. As the Ranger prepared to leave the system, Danny received a message from Earth Command. More reports were coming in from across human space. Alien pirates were avoiding human ships entirely. Some were even requesting permission to attend human comedy shows. The hive mind had assigned additional resources to studying human humor, but their analysts kept getting distracted by how much they enjoyed the jokes. "Captain," Lieutenant Kim said, "we are receiving a priority message from Admiral Kane." Admiral Kane's face appeared on the screen, looking both pleased and concerned. "Captain Brooks, excellent work at Proxima 7, but we have a bigger problem developing. Intelligence reports suggest that a massive alien alliance is forming. They're calling it the Anti-Laughter Coalition." Danny felt his good mood fade slightly. "How big, sir?" "Every major civilization except us. They are planning something they call Operation Silence. The goal is to eliminate what they see as the human laughter threat." "When do we expect them to move?" "Soon, Captain, very soon. All human ships are being recalled to Earth space. We are going to need every laugh we can get." The largest armada in galactic history hung in space beyond the orbit of Pluto. 3,000 warships from every major alien civilization formed a massive wall of metal and weapons pointed directly at Earth. The Grand Alliance had come to end what they called the human laughter threat, once and for all. Admiral Marcus Kane stood on the bridge of the UES Victory, flagship of the human defense fleet. He was an older man with silver hair and steady hands, someone who had seen many battles but never one like this. Through the main view screen he could see the overwhelming force arrayed against them. The human fleet had only 200 ships. "Admiral," reported Captain Nina Rodriguez from the science vessel UES Discovery, "we are detecting energy signatures from all 12 major alien civilizations. The Zephyrians, Krillians, Dominion, Etherians, Synthetics, Nexus, Confederation, Hive Mind, Skarn, Vorthans, and 3 others we have not encountered before." "Any attempts at communication?" Kane asked. "They sent one message, sir. Complete surrender of all human military forces, or they will destroy every human world in the galaxy." Kane looked around his bridge. His crew appeared calm, though he could see the concern in their eyes. Outside, Earth hung like a blue jewel in the darkness, home to 12 billion people who had no idea their entire species was about to face extinction. "Open a channel to all human ships, stations, and orbital platforms," Kane ordered. "Channel open, sir." Kane took a deep breath. "This is Admiral Kane to all human forces and civilians. In a few minutes we will face the greatest challenge in human history. The alien armada before us represents every major power in the galaxy. They have come here because they fear something about us that they do not understand." He paused, looking at the faces of his bridge crew. "They fear our laughter. They fear our ability to find joy in the darkest moments. They fear that we can face impossible odds and still smile. And you know what? They should fear these things. Because when humans laugh together, when we stand together in the face of danger, we become something greater than the sum of our parts." Captain Danny Brooks listened to the Admiral's words from the bridge of the Ranger. Beside him, Chief Martinez was already starting to chuckle. The big man's belly laugh had become famous throughout the fleet. "Today," Kane continued, "we are going to show the galaxy something they have never seen before. We are going to broadcast not just military laughter, but the laughter of our entire civilization. Every human ship, every space station, every orbital platform will participate. But more than that, every human on Earth." On Luna Station, Dr. Elena Vasquez smiled as she heard the Admiral's words. She activated the civilian communication networks that had been prepared for this moment. "This is Dr. Vasquez to all Earth broadcasting networks. It is time." Television stations, radio networks, and internet platforms across Earth began transmitting the same message. In every language, in every city, on every continent, humans were asked to participate in the most important broadcast in their species' history. "We need every laugh," Kane's voice continued. "From children playing in parks to grandparents telling old stories. From workers sharing jokes during breaks to families gathered around dinner tables. We need the laughter of humanity itself." On the alien flagship, Admiral Klextor watched the human preparations with growing unease. He had brought representatives from every major civilization specifically to end the human threat. But as he watched the small human fleet prepare for battle, he felt the same unsettling confusion he had experienced at Kepler 442. "All ships report ready to fire," announced his weapons coordinator. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "the humans are broadcasting again. Cut all communication links immediately." "I cannot, sir. They are using wide-spectrum transmission across all frequencies. The signal is too strong to block." The sound began small, just the crew of the UES Victory sharing gentle chuckles. But then it grew as other ships joined in. Captain Brooks and his crew on the Ranger added their practiced laughter protocols. The science vessels contributed the intellectual amusement of researchers making discoveries. The engineering ships offered the satisfied laughter of people who build things that work. But then something unprecedented happened. Earth itself began to broadcast. Children in playgrounds burst into giggles as they played games. Families in homes shared warm laughter over shared memories. Workers in offices chuckled at friendly jokes. Students in schools laughed as they learned new things. Even elderly people in care homes added their gentle, knowing laughter to the chorus. The sound that emerged was not just human laughter, but the voice of an entire civilization expressing pure joy. It was the sound of a species that had learned to find happiness even in the darkest times. It was the laughter of people who faced the end of everything and chose to be grateful for what they had shared together. Klextor staggered as the sound hit his fleet. This was not the tactical laughter of soldiers preparing for battle. This was something far more powerful, the collective happiness of an entire world. "Admiral," his communications officer reported with panic in his voice. "The sound is affecting all ships. Crews are stopping work to listen. Some are asking permission to communicate with the humans. On the Etherian vessels, beings of pure energy found themselves dimming their light in what their species experienced as wonder. The synthetic collective's androids began processing emotional subroutines they had never activated before. Even the warlike Skarn found themselves thinking of home and family instead of battle." Captain Sam Rodriguez led the fighter squadrons as they launched from the human carriers. As his small ships moved toward the massive alien fleet, he could hear the laughter of his homeworld filling the communication channels. "This is Flight Leader Rodriguez," he transmitted to his pilots. "Listen to that sound, everyone. That is what we are protecting. That is why we fight." "Copy that, Sam," replied his wingman, Lieutenant Bobby Chen. "Though I have to say, I am having trouble feeling scared with my grandmother's laughter in my ears." The human fighters reached the alien fleet, but something extraordinary happened. Instead of opening fire, many alien ships began moving away. Entire squadrons of Krillian fighters simply stopped and hung motionless in space. Vorthan battlecruisers broke formation as their crews became overwhelmed by feelings they could not understand. "Admiral," Vexnil reported to Klextor, "we are losing cohesion across the entire fleet. The human sounds are causing mass psychological effects. Some ship commanders are requesting permission to withdraw." Klextor looked at the main display showing his once mighty armada. Ships were moving randomly, breaking away from formation or simply drifting without orders. The careful military precision that had conquered 47 species was falling apart because of the sound of human happiness. "Fire all weapons," he ordered desperately. "Destroy the human ships immediately," but it was too late. The alien crews were no longer thinking like soldiers. They were thinking like beings who had just heard something beautiful and wanted to understand it rather than destroy it. Many alien ships refused to fire. Others fired wide, missing their targets completely. A few actually sent messages asking if they could visit Earth to learn more about human laughter. Admiral Kane watched from the victory as the greatest threat in human history simply dissolved. "Captain Rodriguez, report." "Admiral, you are not going to believe this, but most of the alien fleet is retreating. Some ships are asking for permission to approach peacefully. A few want to exchange cultural information." Kane felt something he had not expected, not relief but responsibility. "Open a channel to the alien fleet." The transmission reached every ship in both fleets. Kane's voice was calm and welcoming. "This is Admiral Kane of the Human Defense Fleet. We did not come here to conquer anyone. We came here to protect our home. But we invite any of you who wish to learn about us to approach peacefully. We will share our laughter freely with anyone who wants to understand it." On the alien flagship, Klextor made a decision that would have seemed impossible an hour earlier. "Signal our intent to withdraw, but request permission to send a small delegation to Earth." His communications officer looked shocked. "Admiral, I have conquered many species," Klextor said quietly, "but I have never heard anything like this. I want to understand how an entire civilization can face destruction and respond with joy. Perhaps there is something we can learn from them." As the alien armada began its withdrawal, leaving only a few ships for diplomatic contact, Admiral Kane made one final transmission. "To all human forces and civilians, this is Admiral Kane. Today we achieved something no other species has managed. We won a war without hatred. We defeated an enemy by showing them who we really are. We proved that the greatest weapon in the universe might just be the human ability to find joy in being alive. On Earth, in homes and schools and workplaces around the world, humans listened to their admiral's words and felt something profound. They had faced the end of everything and responded not with fear or anger, but with the simple happiness of being human together. The laughter continued long into the night, as Earth welcomed its first alien visitors who came not as conquerors, but as students wanting to learn about the strange and wonderful species that had weaponized happiness itself. In the years that followed, the galaxy would remember this day not as the Battle of Ea,